So today on Sonny Talk Spurs, we are joined by a very special guest. It is Sim from the one and only We Are Tottenham TV. How are you doing today, Sim?
Thank you for having me on, mate. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. All good. I'm look loving Ange Ball at the moment. That's why I've got a big smile on my face. Can't
That's
wait for
the
Ange Ball to
thing.
be back.
That's the thing. We're all very positive as Tottenham fans at the moment. So, and that's where sort of this video idea came from. I want to, there's been a big chat about potential top four finishes and stuff like that. So, but before we get into that crux of the conversation, I just want to get your opinion of, what have you made of Spurs so far this season under Ange? Because, as you say, it started fantastically and we're all quite positive.
I think this look, it's been clear he's been a breath of fresh air. Everyone has absolutely bought into Ange, the fans, the players. I think you can see that there's kind of a weight lifted off a lot of Tottenham fan shoulders right now, considering how Spurs have been playing over the first four games. Obviously, it's still early days, but you can't argue with the football we've been playing. It's really been a delight to watch. And then you add into the fact that not only the football being really good, but the results have been really, really positive.
Hmm.
Everyone seems to be playing with a lot of freedom. The goals we've been scoring, amazing team moves, not just like bits of individual brilliance or counter attacks, but actually well thought out or well crafted team moves as well. Some players who were frozen out last season have been really stepping up and looking like new players. Some of the new players and younger players like Udogi, like stepping into the team and looking like they've been part of the Premier League for many, many years. You've got James Maddison, who's one of the most amazing players to watch in the Premier League when he's in full flight. I'm just loving what I'm seeing. Obviously, it's 2 games, 4 games in, sorry. So there's a big caveat there that in terms of the start we've had, I wouldn't say it's been an easy start, but it hasn't been the hardest of starts you could have asked for. So there's it's still very early days, but you know, and as Spurs fans, how many full storms have we had? We've had so many in our lifetime. Like, Conte, even last season, I think we had a pretty decent start to the season.
Our
Nuno won
best
it
ever
for
start, I think it
it was
was,
our
wasn't it,
best
to the
ever
Premier
start for
League?
10 games exactly. Nuno won his first 3 games. Like we've had full storms and it's all fallen apart, but I do sense it's very different in terms
Mm.
of the performance level. I don't think you could argue with that. I remember after Nuno won his first 3 games, we did a video on our channel saying, yes, look, we've won our first 3 games, but if you look at all the underlying numbers and you actually look at the performances, we've been very lucky to win, and I
Mm.
don't think it's sustainable. I'm looking at this now, and it's a very different case. It really is. We're playing really well, and it does seem sustainable. So I couldn't be happier right now with the start.
I love hearing all this stuff at the moment. It is quite exciting as a Tottenham fan. But moving now on to the manager, obviously you mentioned him a bit there, Ange Postecoglou, and I assume you've also seen the Talksport interview as well. Like, what do you make of him? Because honestly, after watching that, it's a breath of fresh air after the mind games of Conte and Mourinho that have come in the past.
Yeah, I've completely fallen in love with him, I have to say,
Mm.
like so quickly. And I think I've been kind of desperate to fall in love with him. So maybe I want to fall in love, but I have definitely fallen in love with him 100%. I love
Mm.
the way he clearly speaks, and I love the way he addresses the fans as with respect and with humility. And I think that's something to be kind of respected of Ange. I think he's a brilliant talker. He knows what to say to get the fans on side and to get the buy-in. I like that he's such a straight talker as well. He'll give an honest opinion. He'll give an honest answer. Whereas, as you say, with Conte and Mourinho, it's all about riddles and mind games and trying to piece out what they're trying to say. Coupled with
Mm.
the fact, especially with Conte, that English wasn't his first language, so you
Yeah.
had him talking in riddles, and you'd had the kind of broken English as well, which led to a whole mess of like trying to understand what he was trying to say. And I think that it is just a breath of fresh air having Ange in these press conferences. I look forward to actually hearing him speak. I really love it, and I think we needed a manager like that we could all get behind, just a figurehead that I think all the fans could very clearly understand his point of view, understand what he's trying to say, and I think just be a positive influence. Like he seems so happy to be Tottenham manager and so excited about the opportunity, whereas previous managers it seemed as though it was a very unhappy, a very uncomfortable relationship. Whereas
Mm.
they only came to Spurs because maybe their career wasn't where it should be at that point, and Tottenham were very desperate just to get any top manager in, and it was always a very uncomfortable relationship where this seems like a much more natural fit, and I think he's brilliant. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. I know he's had so much to deal with as well in his first 4 weeks, so many difficult challenges with the Kane situation, unwanted players staying, maybe not getting everything he wanted in the transfer market. The pre-season didn't probably go as planned as well. He's had a lot of things to deal with, and also coupled with the fact that he's had to do a major rebuild as well on top of all of this. He's had to put it all together. And I think he's doing a marvelous job. And it's not so easy. Look at Chelsea. Pochettino's had a very similar thing to do, and it's not so easy for him. And Ange is making it look easy in the moment.
That's the thing. And obviously, you mentioned some standout players there, but is there someone in particular where you've just gone, wow, or you've gone, this person is going to take us maybe to a next level, or their just inclusion has been just mind-blowing to you?
Yeah, I think, look, everyone talks about Maddison, and I think Maddison's very high up on the list when it comes to how important he is. But for me, Bissouma's been our most important player in the 4 games of the season. I think he's been absolutely world class. I think he's probably been the best centre mid in the league over the first 4 games. And I'm looking at the way we play and how we've been able to progress the ball so effectively through the centre of the park and create space and chances in the opposition half. I don't think that's possible, or it's as effective without Bissouma, because he is so good on the ball. His press resistance can't be understated, and the way he just takes players on, he can beat 2 or 3 players who are literally around him, and he knows where the space is. And I think you can see, like, when Højbjerg comes in the number 6, like he doesn't have that ability to break the lines with his ball carrying ability like Bissouma does, and that is so crucial to opening up space and committing players. And if you've just got Højbjerg there standing and passing it side to side, it can be effective, but I think Bissouma takes our system to another level with his press resistance and his dribbling ability. And I said to my brother, it's like having a Ronaldinho in defensive mid. The way he dribbles sometimes is incredible. It's madness. I've never seen a defensive midfielder who's so enjoyable to watch as well. I just love seeing him on the ball. And it's so rare for a player in that position to have that kind of enjoyment. And I just think, even if you look at the stats, his ball carry, I think he's top for ball carrying. He's top for take-ons. He's top for tackles and interceptions, which really shows how we're getting the most out of him. But I think with him, I think he makes our system so effective, in my opinion.
That's the thing. He's so good on that half turn. He's assisting the assister. He's starting the moves, and it's just the perfect fit. And you just think of what was happening under Conte. He wasn't playing. Obviously, he was injured as well, and you just have hope that, when we made that signing and we were like, we've signed a gem here for 25 million, and you see players like Enzo and Caicedo going for hundreds of millions, and you're like, wow, we've probably done an amazing bit of business here. So in hindsight, it all worked out at the end. But obviously, from the title, people will work out what this video is going to be about. There's a bit of, obviously, positivity and hype around Tottenham at the moment, and with that has become a lot of praise, and people have changed and awkward predictions. Now, at the beginning of the season, I said I wanted Tottenham to finish 6th, 7th, and show signs of improvement in an attacking sense. And we look like we're on course for that, hopefully. But a lot of people now saying top 4 Champions League. Do you buy into that at all? Or are you still like me, who thinks baby steps?
I do. Well, my pre-season predictions actually had Tottenham at 5th. That was my pre-season prediction. Yeah. So I did think maybe we could do something this season. I think that was also based on some really positive pre-season displays. And I think you could see even in pre-season that the team is getting up to speed fairly quickly, which was really exciting. But look, I think reality is we're 4 games into the season. Things are going well at the moment, but yeah, I'm obviously my pre-season predictions were made before the transfer window closed, and now I'm looking at that centre back situation, and every time I'm seeing a video of Romero getting clattered with his ankle,
so true, isn't it?
I'm like, oh my god, we're literally that close to being in a very bad situation, because Sanchez has now left. As much as I think he's not good enough, he's probably better than anything else we have. Dyer's being frozen out. And as much as I want to trust Phillips and Dorrington, these 2 18-year-old kids in the academy, and I believe in their quality, don't get me wrong, they're 18. and Phillips has played 8 championship games in his career, and Dorrington's never played a senior game. And so to thrust them into a Premier League game with, especially at centre back, which is a position which you need experience in, like that's a position that needs responsibility and concentration. Part of me doesn't think it'll even be fair to thrust them in that kind of with that kind of pressure, especially if Romero or Van de Ven got a long-term injury. So that's my biggest concern. I think that in terms of the way Ange has us playing, I don't think it's. Yes, you could say it's too early, but you just got to say what you're seeing at the moment. And I'm seeing us playing wonderful football, and I'm seeing a structure that seems sustainable to me. And what I like about the first 4 games is that it hasn't been just plain sailing in all those games. Like we've had trouble in those games. We've had to find solutions, which gives me hope that if teams are going to come up against us with a plan, that we can find solutions in game to kind of get around those issues. Like Man United, the first half, they definitely came up with a game plan to stop our inverted with fullbacks, and I thought we completely managed that brilliantly. I think in the second half we changed it up. We made the fullbacks more traditional, made them out wider, and all of a sudden Man United's game plan was undone, and we found a solution. Similar to Burnley, like we were 1-0 down after 10 minutes. We had to find solutions in that game to cope with that. You know, we weren't playing well, and we found the solutions. So I'm delighted. I think game management, Postecoglou has been very good. Obviously, without the Carabao Cup, which is a massive shame, but that should benefit our league form, playing 1 game a week as well. We've seen before how it can benefit teams not being in Europe. Newcastle last season, we saw Leicester and Chelsea both win the league because they weren't. Well, one of the big reasons why is because they had no European football. So I think coupled that with Man United look like all at sea at the moment, and they look a complete mess. I do think there's a spot up for grabs in the top 4. I do think Arsenal, City, and Liverpool, for me personally, they're all but confirmed in the top 4. I don't think there's any budging with them 3, but I do think other than that, there's definitely a spot open for us. And the way we're playing, no European football, I don't see a reason why we can't do it. And I look at the quality of the team. I just look at the squad. And if we can get lucky with injuries, I think our first 11 is as good as anyone else in that top 4 race, to be honest. I really do.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a very good argument. I think that's a very strong argument. I can't. The thing is, it's just, I'm doing a video that's going live before this goes live about the things that could derail Tottenham's season, and one of it is squad depth and fitness. Like especially James Maddison's injury record isn't the prettiest, so I'm just hoping we can just wrap them in bubble wrap 1 game a week and see what happens there. But my final point,
when it comes to injuries, I'll just say quickly, I think there are about 5 players, in my opinion, that if they were to pick up a long-term injury would be in real trouble. And that's Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie, Bissouma, and Maddison.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I think that's 100%. Because I think our attack now is quite solid and versatile, and we've got options. It's just a midfield, because as soon as you're bringing in, say with AFCON as well, that's where I'm getting worried. We're going to lose Sarr and Bissouma, and then it's going to be Skip and Højbjerg, who I think they're okay, but I don't think they work together, and we saw that against Fulham. But finally, obviously, you mentioned the exit to the Carabao Cup. Obviously, a massive shame. Do you reckon we can give the FA Cup a good go, though, this year?
I have to think so. I mean, I would have liked to have given the Carabao Cup a good go. I would have said that before, but I do think that's just one thing that Ange, as much as Ange has defended his decision, I just think he got it wrong. I think he made too many changes. I don't think. I think him saying I need to play these games to see these players. Well, then if you're saying that, then you can't then turn around and say that you picked the team to win, because you admitted that you didn't. You picked a team to see the players, not a team to win. So I was very disappointed in that. But with now being out that competition, I don't see a reason why we can't take the FA Cup as seriously as possible. We're 1 game a week. It's not like it's going to hamper our squad depth too much. Hopefully in January we can add a 1 addition or 2 additions to the squad as well to help with the workload. But I'm really hoping that come January we'll be in a position where we can really take the FA Cup really seriously and have a good go at it, because if we assume a lot of the other teams, all the top teams will still be in Europe by then, we should. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a good go at the FA Cup, and they're probably going to be resting a lot of players as well because of their European commitments. So I think there's no reason why we can't have a good go at the FA Cup. 100%. I'd really like us to see first team players, no changes, like just really go for it. And even if you are going to make changes, you can make changes, but don't make nine. Make two,
Yeah.
3 or 4. Don't make nine, because it just leads to what we saw against Fulham. That was so disappointing. I really wish that if we could take that back, that he would have, because that was just now we're 1 game a week from now till January, and as much as that's a positive for the league form, like we could have done with those extra games just to get some legs and some of the fringe players, even if it's not 9 changes, even if it's a few, but just to have them and looking. But now it's going to be very difficult for them to get game time, so we'll have to wait. We'll have to see how it plays out, because there's only 16 games between now and the FA Cup, I think, isn't it? So it's really not that many, but I think he has to. He has to. Like, there's no excuse for him, and especially what happened with the Carabao, he has to go for the FA Cup.
Well, there we go. I mean, lots of positive chat there, so it's always good to hear. I think we needed that at Tottenham, because the vibe last season, when I think back to it, was horrid. But I really appreciate you coming on, Sim, obviously from We Are Tottenham TV. Their link will be in the description, but obviously they're much bigger than me. And if you've been living under a rock, I don't know where you've been if you don't know who We Are Tottenham TV are. So, yeah, thanks, Sim. Really appreciate it. And cheers.
Thanks for having me on, mate. My pleasure.